Thanks, Ryan. Even whispers. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to those who are new. I just returned a couple days ago from 8 days at Shervasti Abbey, which was quite wonderful, and a couple of people in the audience were there too. I'll let them identify themselves. And it was delightful. So it reminds me to remind everyone to look ahead in your calendar, block off some time, and have a retreat. There are many, many retreats offered, not so far from here. So if you're wondering where those are, we can talk. But I've even been out at the Great Vow Monastery, just in Klatskanai, wonderful retreat with the Zen people there, or Shravasti Abbey, etc. So there's always some place to go. But what I found is if I don't mark it off, it will not happen. If I keep waiting for an opening, that's not how our lives work anymore. So think about it. It is such a good thing for helping the mind. So welcome also to those who are joining us on streaming. We're happy to have you here with us. And tonight we'll do our usual KCC Sunday schedule. So first we will engage in some calm abiding. I have to say the smoke has wreaked havoc with my already asthma thing. And so I'll be doing that a lot. Or maybe not as we get quiet. The smoke was also quite bad over there in the hazardous level for a number of the last days I was there. Okay. So we'll do some calm abiding with some guidance. We'll take a tea break and we'll do some discussion for those who can stay. Your questions are so full of wisdom, truly. And they really help everyone here, these question and answer times. So I think we should start with our refuge and bodhicitta prayer. And I think it's quite important that we think about a few things with this. There are people here in the room who have likely said this prayer, what do you think, thousands of times? I don't know, we'd have to do the math, but many, many, many times. So a prayer like that can start to feel like it is not new. And I really appreciate that Lama Michael lately has been saying everything is new. This moment right here, which is already gone, now this one gone. Whatever moment you're in has never happened before, and it will never happen again. And I think he's saying that more often to enhance the sense of the preciousness. So this breath has never been taken before, and it won't be taken again. And this is true about everything. So this recitation for this practice, you have never done before, and you will never do it again. And I think if we approach it that way, then we treat it with the kind of joy and care that it really deserves. So let's do our recitation. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering, establish them in lasting peace and happiness. So we know why we are engaging in calm abiding. This is not a personal improvement program, although it has an aspect of that. We're doing this to release all, that's a limitless number, beings from their suffering. So this establishes a very vast motivation. We will not achieve this in this lifetime, most likely. I don't say that to discourage you from trying that, but the reality is all beings are limitless. And I don't know about you, but I haven't quite got this calm abiding down the way I would like to have it. So, how do we move toward that vast goal? Beings are limitless. I vow to save them all. Kleshas or afflictions are numberless. I vow to end them all. So this morning and again tonight, I'm going to frame our calm abiding with first one of the most potent mind training practices in our lineage, which is Tonglen. And those words mean giving and taking. So Tonglen is designed to stand our self-grasping on its head. In general, due to ignorance about reality, we believe, act, think that we are separate beings, separate from others, self-sufficient. If we really look honestly, there's a certain way, even we don't think it, we live our lives as though I am the most important. Now, as we practice, that thought gets weaker. But all you have to do is get in kind of a slight emergency, and you see that rise again. Like you're driving a car, and you want to make the green light, so you rush through as it's turning yellow to red. Even that is a little bit like, I need to do this. Where I'm going is important. And if it kind of risks others' safety, there's so many things like that, from that tiny thing to many, many other things where we put ourselves first. it's not about being bad and good. What it's about is suffering or ending suffering. So as long as we're functioning on this ignorance, which grasps at a self that actually doesn't exist the way the mind grasps it, and then on top of the self-grasping, the self-centeredness settles in. At that point, then we are working with attachment, which is what I want, aversion, what I don't want, and a kind of ignorance that says, I don't know about that and I don't really care to know. So this is somewhat describing, if we look closely and honestly at our minds, and we don't puff up and think we're better than all that, this is what we're working with. This is why we need to take refuge in the Dharma, which is the truth that opposes that delusion. In the Sangha, those who practice, those who've already realized and broken through the delusion. And in the Buddha, the model of the awakened mind. Refuge in these three jewels, and sometimes we add the teachers, the gurus. I'm not talking teachers at my level, I'm just helping out, but teachers who have realizations. Then we take refuge in these reliable sources of refuge. They're called reliable. They don't let us down. Why? Because in essence, they are in fact wisdom and compassion. The three jewels are wisdom and compassion, non-dual, completely merged. That's reliable over and over in all circumstances, in fires, in floods, in arguments, in joy. The reliability of that doesn't change. That is also our own true nature. So how do we get at this? We need to take many steps, and one of the most potent, as I said, is this mind training of Tonglen. So let's begin with a short Tonglen practice, and then we will just slip right into our calm abiding practice with some short breaks. So let's begin by really relaxing the body. Check out what's going on with your physical form. You might take a deep breath or two and just let any sense of tension go out. Sometimes we need to adjust a little because something's distracting us about the way we're sitting. And do that, and then let go. Then come to the usual object of calm abiding that you use, most often the breath at the nostrils, sometimes the breath at the belly. It's more subtle, but it's very stabilizing. And some folks here have meditated for a long time, and you have other objects of refuge, or shamatha without an object, which is a more subtle practice. So whatever you do, touch on that now to calm the mind. Now, as though this person or group of people is sitting in front of you, choose a person or group that you know is undergoing suffering. If you're very new to the practice, the best thing to do is someone you already have affection for, you feel very positive toward. And imagine they're sitting in front of you. If you've done a lot of Tonglen, you probably already know what you're going to focus on. It could be a group of refugees, people affected by fire. It could be someone you have difficulty with. But bring to mind that person or group very clearly before you, as though they are here. And look very closely at their suffering. See if you can do that. Sometimes there's almost aversion to looking too close. But see if you can simply move past that and connect with their suffering. Now, as you look at this being, you can do a couple of things. One is to think of how they are kind to you. If there's someone you feel positive about, that's easy. What have they done that has helped you in your life? But if they're a stranger, they've also often done things that have been helpful. And if they're a difficult person, same thing. They give us the opportunity to practice deeper. So you can think that way for 30 seconds or so. Just so you're looking at the suffering, but you're also raising up a kind of warm heart toward this being or group. Also, it's true that just like you, this person wants happiness. That wish for happiness is equal to your wish for happiness, no different. And just like you, this person wants to be free of suffering. We're completely equal in that way. So this brings up the equanimity practice. Like us, they suffer. Like us, they wish to be free. Like us, they wish to be happy. So now, in essence, we kind of gather a sense of courage, and we decide to take their suffering away from them. And we can do this on a couple levels too. If you're fairly new, you can simply imagine taking it and it dissolves kind of into the air. If you've been doing this for a while and it does engender more courage and more compassion, you decide to actually take it on into your heart. And you can do this on the in-breath. The point here is to also notice what your mind says as you do this. Does it resist? Is it receptive? And no judgment, simply noticing, just as you do in calm abiding, what's your mind doing as you take in this suffering and free this person or group from the suffering. And you imagine experiencing that suffering yourself instead of them. experiencing it. Then you can begin adding in on the out breath. On the in breath, you take in the suffering. On the out breath, you begin to send them almost like in the light of cool moonbeams, just everything they need or want. On a common relative level, food, clothing, medicine, friends, safety. And also then you can send them your Dharma teachers, your Dharma merit, your Dharma realizations. Send it all to them on the out-breath. And we'll just do this for a bit, this take and send. And whenever you wish to, you can simply let go of the entire story of the suffering, of the taking, of the giving, and slide right into your calm abiding. And we'll take a break about every 5 minutes for those who need to stretch, or we really take these breaks because we can get sort of sleepy or lost in the calm abiding. So you can either continue with the Tonglen, which is also a form of concentration. It's just more conceptual. Or you can slip into your calm abiding practice and just continue. you need to adjust, but particularly notice if your mind was where you wanted it. No judgment, just bring it back. Stretch a little. Imagine that this next 5 minutes is the last 5 minutes you'll ever get to engage in calm abiding, and use it in that way. By this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state. Thank you very much. I think there's just a couple of announcements. Reminder, most of you know about the October 21st date for celebrating our center. We hope by then we'll have the rest of it done. There seems to be some slowdown in terms of the permits from the city due to the HVAC system. So I guess that's the heating, air conditioning, something. So they're doing everything they can do while they wait for that. So once they get that, then they can start closing up some more of the walls downstairs. So that's what's holding that up. There will be quite a number of people going to India in January from our Sangha. I think it's quite a little group. I haven't counted yet, but it's quite exciting. So let's keep doing prayers that any obstacles get removed to their trips and that everything can just flow very nicely so they can all engage in Mahamudra with Khenpo Rinpoche. And we need some help this coming up Wednesday for anybody who's fairly able-bodied. We're going to start cleaning up around the yard a little bit more, and we have to move those big, long pews that were in here. We're going to bring a couple up here, a couple downstairs. They're out in the yard under tarps. A couple here, a couple up downstairs, and then I think the rest of them, in fact, I've been told the rest of them are available. You can have a great big pew at your home. If you have the space or need for one, or you know some organization that might like that, they can come and get a pew and just make a donation. So we'll also be moving, these all sound so fun, but moving a big pile of cement, is it? Yeah, Cynthia, you know?
When it's a few of us working together, it actually is fun.
Yeah, I was here the last time we moved a big pile of broken cement from under the tent, and it was a rainy day, and we had a great time pitching it in the dumpster. So, so if you can come Wednesday, let either Jeff Gunn know or Linda Grove know. And if you have questions, maybe you could talk with Cynthia at the break. Are there any other, there's a movie night. There's a movie night out at the 3-year retreat land. I don't remember the date, but there's flyers back there. And it's camping overnight, if you like. Yes, sir.
It's the 16th, it's next weekend. It's Saturday.
Oh, it's this weekend, Saturday. So go to the movies out on the 3-year retreat land. What's the movie?
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's flyers there, and it should be great fun. I think some of the young people are going. Yeah, Matthew. Okay. So do that. Have fun. Okay, tea time. Come back for discussion in about 10 minutes. Bring your questions, bring your things you know.